Hi, in my last video, I showed you a flip through of this birthday journal. And in this tutorial, I'd like to share with you a way to personalize the cover. This was a handbook, that's the manufacturer, and the cover is just a raw linen, just a plain linen. And for this demonstration, I'm going to be using another journal with a plain linen cover and some buttons that I found in my studio or just discs. I've cut down a piece of just decorative paper that I had in a collage drawer. I had made this and just saved it. It's on a heavier weight, but you can work with something pretty thin. I'm going to be working with waxed linen thread. This just makes it super easy, but you can use embroidery floss or even dental floss. I need something to poke a hole with, so this is an oversized push pin. I also like to embellish with an acrylic pen. This is actually acrylic paint, so it's going to stick nicely to this surface. And the secret sauce in everything is a gel medium. This is matte because it's going to dry. It won't dry shiny, it'll dry matte. But the gel medium is a wonderful, thick, glue-like substance that we're going to work with. So the trick with this technique is to do whatever sewing you'd like on this collage paper, on the extra paper first, before you glue it onto the cover of your book. It's going to give the appearance of sewing through the cover, but then you don't have the issue of having the thread stick out on the back of the cover. You could poke a hole through the cover and do this, but I find this to be a much easier technique. So I'm basically going to poke the hole into my paper and sew with my linen thread, leaving a little bit dangling in the back. I don't need to make a knot there. That might make it a little bit too lumpy. So I'm just going to leave a little thread dangling in the back. And then I'm going to either stick my needle through, or you can pre-punch the holes. And I'm going to just use 3 stitches to hold this disc in place. Okay, I have sewn on the first, the second, and the third. I just ran this third guy off just a little bit for fun. You'll notice that I've left a little tail. I didn't make a knot with the first stitch, and this is my last stitch. I'm going to just cut that, also leaving a tail. And then I'm going to just hang them together and put a little piece of masking tape. I just need to hold the tails in place so that when I put my gel medium over the entire piece, the tails are going to stick down just fine. Again, I didn't need to make a knot in the back because that might make it just a little bit lumpier than it needs to be. Now I'm going to figure out where that's going to be placed, just like that. I'm going to cover the back in the gel medium, and I'm going to put some gel medium on this surface so that it's got gel medium on both surfaces. This linen is incredibly absorbent and is going to suck a lot of that gel medium right into it. So in order to get a good tight grab, I will put gel medium on both surfaces. So here you see I'm applying the gel medium with a brush, and I'm coming over the edges to be sure that there's going to be good contact on the entire piece. The reason I'm using gel medium as opposed to any of the tacky glues, anything that's a little more liquidy, is because this back of the card is not flat. It's got some dimensionality because of those threads. Gel medium is the best medium to use, the best way to adhere surfaces that are 3-dimensional, that are not going to be perfectly flat. Okay, I've got the gel medium on. I'm going to position this the way I want it. The gel medium's on my surface here as well. And then I just have to be patient and take my time holding the whole thing down. So I'm going to take the back of my scissor and rub that so that the contact is really good. And you'll notice that some of the gel medium might ooze out like right there. For that, I take a small paintbrush and just lift that up to clean it up. Now you have to be patient because some of these edges just will pull away, so it's helpful to just burnish it with the back of your scissor and keep working it. It will take a little longer than you think, and then when you've got that feeling like it's sticking, just continue to press down and hold it like that for a few minutes until that bond is really, really tight. Now, if you have a corner that's not sticking, again, it's probably because the linen is so absorbent, as is the paper, this paper that I'm gluing down. So just lift that corner up, add a little bit more gel medium, and press it down until some of that gel medium oozes out. That's a good sign. And then you can pick that up either with your finger or your brush. And because it's matte medium, it's going to dry dull or satiny, so you're not going to see that. So don't worry about that. And just keep pushing down and working it. And again, there's no rule that says you can't go back and add more if you're not getting a good adhesion, a good stick. And finally, I like to add a little more embellishment with an acrylic paint pen. This is a good brand, Posca. Honestly, Sharpies will fade over time, and if you're like me and you have journals that date way back, it's a good idea to use something that's not going to fade. So I can use this acrylic pen to add some details to my cover, and I can also use this to write on the spine and give the date and the information. And on my birthday book, I used a paint pen for my birthday adventures, and then zhuzhed it up just a little bit here. The technique of working on a separate piece of paper and then adhering it works great for other things as well. Here are just two branches. I poked some holes and attached the branches with some little bit of metal wire after I wrapped them. That way I didn't have to go through the cover. Here's another one with the branch that was wrapped. In this case, I did go through the cover, and you can see a little bit of that wire peeking through. It worked fine on this page. It blended just fine. And then I had these metal just hearts that had holes in them, and I poked the hole in here as well through the paper. And the paper is glued down so that I don't have so the inside cover is smooth. So working on a separate piece of paper works great. You can sew it on your sewing machine. I did that with this couching technique, and then adhered the actual map to the cover of my journal. So this technique works great. There's no end to the way that you can personalize it for your journal. Hope you have fun. If you enjoyed it, please like down below and subscribe.